right, so before we begin, I'm going to start off with a little prayer that we have in our Holy Book, in the Holy Quran. We believe the Holy Quran to be the direct words of God as revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And this is from the story of Moses, and it's a prayer that the Prophet Moses recited before he had to go speak in front of Pharaoh. And it is in Arabic, قَالَ رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي وَاحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي. And translated, that means, my Lord, expand for me my chest, which means give me courage. My Lord, expand for me my chest, and ease for me my task, and untie the knot from my tongue, so that they may understand what I say. And it's a prayer that a lot of us Muslims do before we do any kind of public speaking. And I'm going to assume you guys are going to be much more merciful with me than Pharaoh was with Moses, but I know I'm in need of this prayer much more than the Prophet Moses ever was. So just to start off, I do a lot of interfaith work in the community, and I borrowed this PowerPoint presentation from a friend of mine, Dr. Asad Tarsin. It's the presentation he does when he goes to different churches and temples and synagogues. It's my first time using this PowerPoint, but it's a good overview of what Muslims believe and what Islam's all about. It's a big task to take on, to try and sum up the religion of Islam in like 20 minutes, but I'm going to try and do the best that I can. So let's see here. So first we're just going to define some terms. So Islam is the actual religion, it's the proper name of the religion. And Islam, Muslims see themselves as one of the Abrahamic faiths. So there's Judaism, which Prophet Moses taught about, and then Christianity, which we believe Prophet Jesus taught, and then we've got Islam, which was taught by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, around 1400 years ago. And whenever we refer to any of the prophets, we say peace be upon him, or when we refer to the Virgin Mary, we say peace be upon her out of reverence and respect, and to keep in mind that we're talking about the sacred. And literally, Islam means basically to turn yourself over, to surrender, to submit to the will of God. And, second. Okay, so Muslims, so a lot of people will ask questions like, are you Muslims, or are you Islam? So it's important to understand that Islam is the name of the religion, and Muslims are the people who practice the religion of Islam. We've got some photographs here of some famous Muslims. We've got Muhammad Ali, who is probably the most famous Muslim in America. And we've got Dr. Oz, who many people don't know, he's Muslim. And then, does anybody recognize the picture of the man with the beard? Cat Stevens, yeah, who changed his name to Yusuf Islam after he became Muslim in the 70s. So Muslims come in all different races and ethnicities. The majority of Muslims in America come from the African American community, and many people assume that it's Arabs, but actually a lot of Arabs are Christian. And moving on quickly. Okay, so there's a misunderstanding amongst many people, which is that Muslims worship a different God, that Muslims worship a God named Allah, and the rest of us worship another God. Actually, Allah is the Arabic name for God. And what you see in Arabic here is actually the Christian Bible. And that Bible is in Arabic. And in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In Arabic, God is referred to as Allah. And so Arab Christians refer to God as Allah, Arab Jews will refer to God as Allah. So basically, Allah is the God who taught the different prophets about his name. So we've got Abraham, we've got Noah, Isaac, Ishmael, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon them all. And there's some differences of opinion about Mary as well, that she may have been a prophet. Okay. So Islam sees itself basically as a culmination of the religions that were revealed before, Judaism and Christianity. And prophets like to speak in parables, and one of the parables that we have is that the Prophet Muhammad said that my coming is like the coming of people walking around a building saying that, oh, this building, it's so beautiful, it's perfect, except it's got one brick missing. And he said, I am that final brick. And so, which tells us that the Muslims do not see, or the Prophet Muhammad did not see his coming as a destruction of the religions that came before him, or anything being completely removed and then rebuilt. It's just that we believe that there was a succession of prophets sent throughout history, and that Prophet Muhammad was the final messenger. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going to skip that part. Okay, there's a theory that there's 124,000 prophets that were sent throughout history. 25 of the prophets have been named in the Holy Quran. And so those are the stories that our children learn about in their Sunday school classes, about the 25 different prophets. But we believe that there could have been 124,000 prophets, and as long as they came before Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, then there's theories out there that Socrates might have been a prophet, that Confucius might have been a prophet, someone who came and taught the truth about God and whose words have lasted with us until even today. Okay, so this is the part I want to go through kind of quickly. So Islam, there's 3 dimensions to Islam: faith, conduct, and character. And we worship God with our bodies, our minds, and our souls. And so when it comes to the first dimension of Islam, I'm going to talk about conduct. Let me see here. And so how many of you have heard about the 5 pillars of Islam? So the 5 pillars of Islam have everything to do with your conduct. They've got to do with physical. It's got to do with a physical activity. So the first one is the testimony, saying that I testify that there's nothing worthy of worship except for God, and that the Prophet Muhammad is a messenger of God. And when you acknowledge that the Prophet Muhammad was a prophet, you're acknowledging all the prophets that came before him as well. And so if you notice, that's a physical action. You have to do it with your tongue. You have to actually say those words. And then there's the 5 daily prayers, which is a physical action. You've got purifying charity, which is 2.5% of our savings every year are given in charity. That's a physical action. There's fasting in the month of Ramadan. Ramadan is the 9th lunar calendar of the year, and we fast from sun up to sundown. And then there's the pilgrimage, where once in your lifetime, if you can afford it, you have to go on the Hajj, which is to the Holy Lands in the current country of Saudi Arabia. And so that's when a lot of people, that's their complete understanding of Islam, that that's what it means to be Muslim. But that's actually just one dimension of it. That's the physical part of what we do with our bodies. Now I'm going to move on to the second part, which is how we worship with our minds. So this is what Muslims have to believe. And if there's any one of these things that you choose to reject and say, I believe everything except for this one thing, then that means you're not a Muslim. So you have to believe in God. You have to believe in the existence of angels. You have to believe in the validity of the sacred scriptures that came before the Holy Quran. So that means the Torah, the Psalms, the Gospel. You have to believe in the messengers of God. So I cannot say that I believe in Abraham and I believe in Moses, but I reject Jesus. Or I believe in Noah and I believe in Ishmael, but I reject Moses. So it doesn't work that way. You have to accept all of the prophets of God in order to be a Muslim. And with Jesus, we have, our view is closer to the Unitarian perspective, which is that he was born of a virgin birth. He is the Messiah. He will return in the end times. And but we see him as a mortal prophet. We do not see him as someone who's dead, however. We believe that he was raised up and that he will be returning. And we believe in the day of judgment, that there will be a day of judgment where mankind will be taken into account. And we believe in the divine decree, which means what hits you was never going to miss, and what misses you was never going to hit. So accepting that whatever comes your way is from God at the end of the day. So we've gone through what we do with our bodies, what we do with our minds, and now we're going to talk about our soul. So Muslims believe that we are born with a primary nature. Everybody here has an innate understanding of the difference between right and wrong, and that by virtue, we are inclined to want to do good. But there's a lower self to us, which is known as a selfish ego, the nafs, and that we have a capacity to do a lot of evil things in the world. And so that there's this constant struggle